I'll go through start to finish the Gritty HDR. First thing you need to know is how to find an image properly. So this sounds like it might be a little bit easier than it is, so please pay attention to this. I always go to Google and then search whatever I want. So for Gritty HDR, it works best for a person. So I'm gonna go to, I'll just type it in here, Johnny Cash. Okay, and we're gonna look for a good picture. So I always go up here to images because that means you really just want to look for an image. But most people, what they would do is they would just grab one of these images, and that is not right. I need you to go to search tools and then any size. We have to change that to large. Okay, we need to get a large image size so that we can actually have enough image there to do the assignment. This is super important. And this is one of my all-time favorite pictures of him. And you can see here, if I zoom in, if I hover over top the image, it'll give us two numbers. That's the image size in pixels. So the bigger that is, the better. So this one is like 3,000, and this one's only 2,000. So I'm gonna click on this one. Okay, it's gonna show me a bigger version. I'm gonna click on View Original Image. Okay, and that's gonna load up the actual size image, and it's gonna be very large. Okay, so I've never tried this assignment with a black and white, so we'll see how it turns out. I'll let it load up, and then I'm gonna right click on it. I'm gonna hit Save Image As, and then name it whatever I wanna name it. So if I wanna change it, make sure you don't get rid of this .jpeg. I'm just going to put jcache. Okay, and saving to my desktop, I'm good with that. Hit save, awesome. So now, Gritty HDR, remember I'm actually just gonna open up the tutorial here for you. So assignment package, this will be on your desktop, Gritty HDR. And let's see what it says. Okay, so it shows you before and after image. Always super important to do before and after. Open the photo. So I'm gonna go find my photo, which is right here. Right click on it and open with Photoshop. That's the easiest way to open up a picture once you know where it is. Okay. All right, it also gives you a few little tips there in the assignment. I'm just gonna move this over so I can click back and forth. So I've opened up my photo. So now, step 2, make the details more visible with the Shadows and Highlights tool. Anytime where you see these little arrows, that means it's a drop-down menu from the top. So it's Image, Adjustment, Shadow, and Highlight. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Image. Oh, sorry, I didn't resize the image first. Whenever you open up your image, it's going to be a wacky size. So I'm gonna show you kind of the best way to make it a manageable size. So this is super important. Anytime you open up an image, you have to make sure it's a proper size. So I'm gonna go to Image, Image Size. It's kind of hiding right here, okay. So Image, Image Size, right there. Okay, and what I usually do, the resolution is 300, which is fine for this assignment. So remember how I normally say 72 is good? For this assignment, we want to have it a little bit higher at first. So resolution 300 is fine. Okay, you want to make sure all these three are clicked. And then what I usually do is I find the bigger of the two numbers. So I'm just going to select that, and I'm going to change that to 11. Okay, and I don't care what my other number was. I just want to make sure that the biggest number I have is 11. Okay, there we go, and I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to resize it just a little bit. Remember, a shortcut to make your image bigger or smaller is Command plus or Command minus or Control on a PC. Okay, so I want it about this size. I'm happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. Image, Adjustment, Shadow, and Highlight. Image, Adjustments, Shadows, and Highlights. Awesome. Okay, and sometimes whenever I give you numbers here, you might want to just zoom in and look. So I have 73 and 18. So those are just kind of places to start. So just check out your own image and find out, does this work for my image? So adjust the settings so that all the details are easy to see without making the photo look fake. That is really hard to know unless you've done this before. So what I always suggest is just play around with it. So see what it does, okay? Obviously, like something like this looks really fake, and something really dark looks weird too. So I'm gonna just play around and find kind of a happy number. where I can see a lot of detail. And I'm looking for detail in the hair, face, and in this particular one, the guitar. Okay, so I'm just gonna play with it a bit. And you know what? I'm happy with it about here for the shadows and my highlights. So again, this looks obviously super fake. And I'm just gonna play with it till I find the number I like. Okay, for me, this number 2 works right here. So I'm gonna hit OK. Go on to the next step. Okay, add a halo effect with the unsharp mask filter. So choose filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. So filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. Okay, and again, we have some, I'm just going to move out a little bit. And okay, so it says, set the radius to 250 pixels and adjust the amount to get the effect we're looking for. So again, just copy what I have, 75, 200, and we'll play with it to see what it does. Okay, so 75, 250, and 0. Again, I can just zoom out to see what it does. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to hit OK. Awesome. Okay, step 4. Add a black and white adjustment layer. This is one of the places people make mistakes on, so please pay attention to this step. So I'm going to go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Black and White, and you have to read the rest of this. Okay, so I'm going to go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, not New Layer. Adjustment Layer is right here, and it says Black and White. But you can see here that I can't do that because I have a locked background layer. So I'm just going to unlock it, and the easiest way to do that is just double click your layer and hit OK. Now if I go Layer, New Adjustment Layer, okay, normally I'm able to hit black and white. Okay, I'm just going to try changing, oh okay, it's because I have the selection tool. If I have the move tool, I can do it. New adjustment layer. Oh, black and white still isn't working. Oh, okay. That's probably the only problem I had with that is because I used a black and white. So for me, if you ever have that issue where it's not popping up, go to Image, Mode, and then it should be in RGB. Right now I'm in grayscale because it's a black and white image, so I guess my image may or may not work. So I'm going to try that again. So I've changed the mode. Again, you don't need to do this unless yours is not working. It should always just be in RGB or CMYK. So let's try this again. Layer, new adjustment layer, now we can do black and white. Awesome. Okay, and read the rest of that. It says a window will appear, so we're going to change the mode of the black and white layer to overlay. Okay, here where it says mode, we're going to click overlay. This is what people always skip, okay? And if you skip that, it won't work. So I'm going to hit OK, and you're going to see it has to look like this. If it doesn't, you did something wrong, and you're going to have to go over that step again. Okay, so play with the custom settings. Okay, we don't get this pop-up because this is a different version of Photoshop. It's right here. So normally in the old version it would be a pop-up, but right here this is where we can play with. And again, I don't have color, so this doesn't work for my image, but your image, if you have color, you can change all those settings right here. So you play with it. Again, my numbers are a good place to start, but it's all about your own image, whatever works with your own image. So play around with it and just check out what everyone does, and then pick whatever you like. So here's another complicated step. This is one people get wrong because they don't check this little box and they don't change the blending mode. Okay, so this is another really tricky one. So we're gonna go layer, new layer, layer, new layer, and we're gonna get another pop-up box. It says to name the layer grain, and the mode has to be overlay, and it says fill with 50% gray. So we're gonna click that box and hit OK. And you're gonna see here that I have a gray box. If your grain box is white, it is done wrong, and the next step will not work. This is like the #1 problem people run into. They just go too fast and don't read the steps. So we're almost done. We're gonna add noise here. So we're gonna go to Filter, Noise, Add Noise. Then we're gonna check mark the monochromatic and then click OK. So that means nothing to us. We're just simply following instructions. So filters, noise, add noise. Filter, noise, add noise. And it says click on monochromatic. We'll see if there's any other settings there. It's set to 12 and uniform. Okay, so 12.5, that's fine, uniform, awesome. So we're gonna hit OK, and it's not gonna do anything, but the next step it will. So we're gonna blur the noise. So we're gonna make sure we're on that layer. We're gonna click Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and enter 0.3 in the radius settings and hit OK. So click on that, Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. It says to change that to 0.3 and hit OK. Alright, so now we're going to increase, this is the very last step, increase the contrast of the layer with auto levels. Okay, again, this one has changed in the version of Photoshop. So if you're trying to find auto levels, there isn't. We're going to look for levels, and then there's an auto button. Okay, so we're going to click on Image, Adjustments, Levels. Okay, there's no auto levels, it's just called levels now. There is, though, an auto button. The auto button is right here. Okay, and you can see here how it made the image a lot more gritty and grainy. Okay, so also I can play around with this if I really want. Okay, but I think the auto does a pretty decent job. The output levels, okay, you'll see what it does here. I'm gonna adjust that just a little bit and hit OK. Awesome. There we go, and I am absolutely done. So that, if we put that with the original image, you'll see the big difference. And I'll post these both up to my blog right now. Okay, and so right now what'll happen if we go to File, Save for Web and Device, we're gonna get an error. It's going to say your image exceeds the size. Okay, you may experience memory loss. Okay, so we're gonna hit No. I'm gonna change the resolution right now. And we're gonna change it to 72 so that the image is small enough to work with. A good indicator to check is on the bottom left-hand corner of this image, it says this image is 31 megabytes. So this could be printed as a poster. It's huge, but for the internet, not so good. So I'm gonna hit Image, Image Size, and I'm just going to grab this resolution again, and I'm gonna change it to 72. Okay, you'll see here, it's gonna change it to a 1.78 megabyte image as opposed to 31, which we don't want. Okay, and it's going to go tiny, but to make it bigger, all we do is hit Command plus or Control plus on a PC, and we're not losing anything. So now if I go File for Save in Web and Device, it's going to open up here. Okay, a JPEG 400. Again, we want it to be somewhere close to 100. Just going to play with that a little bit. 104, perfect. Hit Save. I'm going to save it as something different. If I save this as JCache, it's going to overwrite my other image. So I'm going to put JCache Gritty. Awesome. So desktop, great. Okay. Perfect. So now I'm going to go to my blog and upload it. Okay, that's where I was. I'm going to go to Blogger, Mr. Gobey's blog. Might have to sign in here. Okay, so I already have my post. You would be adding your own post, but all I'm gonna do is just go edit and upload the images here. Okay, it's a little bit slow. Okay, here we go. So this is where you would make your new post. Again, yours should say assignment number 5, Gritty HDR. And I'm just going to hit enter here. Make sure it says compose, not HTML. I'm going to go to my little image button, click on that, and I'm going to upload both files. So choose file, and I know mine's on the desktop. Here's the Gritty and here's the cache one. So I'm going to select both those, hit open, no errors. yet. Okay, select them both. To select them both, hit Shift and add selected. You shouldn't need to tell me which one's the before and after.